Your Creative Push, episode 113.
I think that when you really are stuck, you need to remind yourself why you started all of this to begin with and just chase that.
Welcome to Your Creative Push, the podcast that pushes you to pursue your creative passions. I'm your host, Youngman Brown, and my guest today is Xin Li. Xin is a 21-year-old photographer living in Bergen, Norway, who likes to chase light. She's been interested in photography all of her life and believes that photography is not just important to document the beauty that she sees around her, but also to tell stories with her work. And Xin, first of all, thank you so much for coming on the show. I was wondering if you could start out by telling us a little bit about how you got to the point that you're at now in your creative and photographic career.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. I love what you're doing.
Of course.
You know, my interest in photography started when I was very young. My dad used to take a lot of photos to document me and my sister's childhood when we were younger, and I remember thinking that I want to take photos too. So throughout the years, I've used a lot of disposable cameras. It wasn't until I was in my early teens that I got my very first own camera and began doing it more seriously, and later started posting it online and for other people to see. And photography for me has always been a creative and, as cheesy as it sounds, an emotional outlet. I like to document my life and things I see, sure, but I also want to tell stories with my work. Like express something, like personal things. I feel very emotionally attached to most of the photos I take because the inspiration of it often comes from my own feelings. So I remember feeling very down one day because of something I don't remember now, but I remember that I was telling myself that I really wanted to document it because I was looking really miserable. So I put up a bed sheet on my wall and started shooting. And I realized afterwards that I somehow turned my bad day into something good. And then I started taking photos every time I was feeling down, and it worked like therapy for me in some way. And it felt great. So, silver linings.
Absolutely, I love that. You know, that's what art is all about. It's what it should be about, to not only like you said, document the sad times, because I think that's really important to, you know, everybody wants to only express, you know, happiness and put up this like allure of a more positive life of everything's okay type of thing. But it's really important, and it's kind of your job as an artist, I think, to pull out those sad moments so you can make those connections and really help people out. But I love that you treat it as like a therapy, because that's what it should be, you know?
Mm-hmm. I think it's the same for a lot of artists. They use it as a platform to show their emotions.
Absolutely. Now, what was it like the first time that you started sharing your work? Because you said once you got that camera, you were building up your own portfolio and doing it for yourself mostly. But then what was it like when you first started sharing your work?
First, I didn't get a lot of people to view my photos, but I started out on Flickr, and as I posted more, I realized that there was a community, and people saw my work, and I saw theirs, and it felt really like I felt really exposed, but it felt like good because people saw me for like my work and not the other things. Yeah, it was really exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. It is like you're exposing a piece of yourself, but it's also liberating too, to be able to do that, to share that and make those connections with other people.
Yeah.
With your shots specifically, do you know exactly what you want them all to look like and set them up beforehand, or are some of them very spontaneous?
I usually divide my work into two different things. Like, one thing is when I'm just going out to shoot to document my life, and that's one thing. And the other things I'm doing is usually photos that are staged and planned over a longer time. Like, I like to sketch my photos before I take them. And it usually takes some planning before I actually go shooting.
I like how you say that you separate it. You know exactly what to expect, even if it's to expect the unexpected.
Yeah.
But yeah, to sketch it out and to have some sort of a plan so that when you're out shooting, it's not not that it would ever be a waste of time, but you can utilize your time more wisely.
Yeah, exactly. Because I like to be spontaneous, but sometimes I just like everything planned, and maybe I can like show what I'm thinking in my head better if I plan it more, in some ways.
For sure. It's super, super helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Are there some things that initially held you back from being creative, and do you still experience them?
Well, yes. Like all other people who do creative work, I have bad days where I just don't seem to get anything done. And sometimes I've made plans to go out and shoot something because I haven't done it in a while, and I just can't seem to get out of the door. And it's not a laziness that keeps me doing what I want to do. It's like a fear of not doing it well enough. There are so many great artists out there, and you keep going like, I will never be as good as that. And I'm still working on not having that kind of mindset, but it's a real struggle. But I believe that the correct answer is don't compare yourself to other people, and look up to them instead. Like, everybody's still learning, and everybody needs to start somewhere. So admire their work, and maybe it inspires you and pushes you to create something yourself.
Yeah, that's one of the big things is, when you surround yourself with such inspiration, and it's so easy to find that inspiration, to look on Instagram, to look on Flickr, or whatever it is. It can be somewhat daunting, especially when they're so diverse, they're so great and so diverse.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah. You should definitely treat it as looking up and admiring as opposed to comparing, because, in the end, there's really no comparison to what you can do.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a worst moment when you really had a tough time, fighting that battle, or maybe something else that held you back?
Yeah, of course. Well, a year ago or some, I had a time where I didn't really take photos for like 4 months, which is really long for me personally. My camera was just like collecting dust in a corner somewhere, and I just couldn't find any inspiration to shoot anything. I just wasn't feeling it and couldn't think of any ideas. And for some reason, I didn't bring my camera out when I was out either. So I was in a creative limbo. And coming over that resistance was really hard for me. But one day I just decided to keep telling myself that I had to go out and I had to pick up my camera again. And if not, I would only have myself to blame for feeling bad and guilty. So I started to reschedule my plans for the next few days and cancel some plans I had made with friends, and made photography my number one priority. And I had to address to myself that was more important right now, to pick myself up. And I still have those days or weeks or months. I believe it's a constant struggle for all artists. And I think that when you really, really are stuck, you need to remind yourself why you started all of this to begin with, and just chase that.
It's tough. We've all been there. I've had a very long artistic limbo, as you called it,
Yeah.
before. It's a tough thing, but like you said, I think that is the perfect advice. It's, you have to pencil it in almost and treat it like a relationship that you have to schedule time with and make it a number one priority sometimes.
Yeah. It shouldn't feel like a chore though. Take your time, and if you feel like you need a break from your art, whether it's a day or a month or two, to think and to feel, I believe that's okay. You don't stop being an artist just because of that. And I needed to remind myself that that's the case, and I don't stop being a photographer just because I took a 4-month break from it.
Just like the camera collects dust, it's just like your creative impulses collect a little bit of dust, and it's just a matter of, shaking it off. And like you said, to enjoy it while you're doing it and not treat it like a job. But sometimes you have to pencil it in, like you said, and schedule it like it is a job. And then once you get back into it, you can find the enjoyment again. And then it's really not that hard to pencil it in again. You know, you kind of look forward to doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So on the flip side, do you have a best or most triumphant creative moment?
Well, I don't think I have one favorite moment, but the best thing, it's getting compliments from other people, but feeling like I've done a good job myself is definitely the best feeling. Like when a photo turned out just like I imagined it in my head, or even better. Because I'm my own worst critic, and as people usually are, I'm so happy when I've made something that I myself can be proud of.
What comes to mind as your favorite piece and your favorite photograph?
I think it's a piece I made in 2013 or 14. It's just myself. It's a self-portrait, me standing in the forest by myself with some light bulbs. Just because it was a photo that I shot right after I had a really hard time. And it really helped me get over that hard time.
Yeah, I love that. I know the photo you're talking about as well, and I love that one as well.
Thank you.
Of course. And for anybody that hasn't checked out your work yet that's listening, definitely head to yourcreativepush.com/Xin. That's XIN, to check out some of the photographs we'll have posted there, as well as links to all of her different social media outlets. Did you have a specific time where, was it before you started sharing your work, where you kind of developed your style, where you felt like you had your voice kind of not set in stone, but more of a confidence in the types of photos that you like to take and try to achieve?
I was not really confident in my style before I started sharing it, because I hadn't seen anyone take those kind of photos before I was really browsing the internet of other people doing the same thing. And I believe that you should develop your style as you go. You know, you never stop developing. So for me, it's just, it didn't start before I was following other people, and it just was really fluid by that time, but it's not set in stone yet either.
Good. Yeah, it's important to always evolve. But I like what you were saying about how you'd never seen anybody kind of do the thing that you were doing. Was it once you saw that gave you like the kind of confidence to be able to do it?
Yes, definitely. It was because I'm from a really small town in Norway, and people were looking really weirdly at me when I was shooting by myself in the forest somewhere. And when I found people on the internet doing the same things as me, it just gave me that confidence that I was always looking for, that I never found when I was younger, to do what I do.
Yeah, it can be tough, even if you're from not a small town, even if you're in the city or something like that, and going out and doing the thing that you do that not many people in your real life will understand. I can definitely relate to that, and that's why the internet is such an awesome thing. You can make these connections with people from across the world, from Norway,
Yeah.
and just and be inspired by them, and also just kind of gain confidence in what you're doing, even if nobody in your real life kind of understands or looks at you funny when you're trying to do your thing.
Yeah.
It can really help that confidence. Do you have a formula for balancing your time?
Balancing, I don't, because I still struggle with balancing my own time. But I think it's to make your creative work your priority when you can. I don't mean that it should stand in your way for work, but it should be like one of the top priorities of your day, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just kind of making it, like we were talking about before, into that relationship that you make sure you spend some time with each day so that you don't get in those lulls. Yeah.
For me, I have scheduled days because I'm so bad with managing my own time that I have written specific dates in a book where I just concentrate on photography, just so I have a day in a week where I know that I can use it to grow and to work on my own things.
Now, when you do that, because I like that idea because it kind of takes the pressure off a little bit of the other days. Do you find that on the other days that you are still doing the photography then?
It's really hard balancing a social life and like a hobby, I think. But it's not like I don't feel like I'm doing photography. Photography is always on my mind. When I'm somewhere that I find beautiful, I am always thinking like, I should really shoot here someday. And it's just constantly working in my head, and it just never stops.
Yeah, I can definitely relate. It's very, very hard to balance a hobby and a social life. I'm struggling with that as well with the podcast and with my other artistic stuff. So, but you're right. You're kind of stuck with that hobby. And as you're walking around places, you're like, all right, I guess I got to come here on whatever day I can, Yeah,
because you can't give up your social life, but it's hard to balance.
For sure. Well, yeah. I like that idea of making a day in your calendar so that it does take the pressure off a little bit, and that you have that time, scheduled away. I like that. Xin, what does art and creativity bring to your life?
Photography has taught me to see beauty in everything, in imperfections in people, and it gives me something to define myself with, something to express myself through. And it's what's keep me going every day.
I love it. Yeah, it's like you said. It becomes a part of your life, and then you do look at the world in a different way, and it makes things so much brighter. Yeah, I love it. Who's your greatest inspiration?
I think that my biggest inspirations are my parents, because they came from China in the 90s, and they came to Norway with literally nothing, and they built what they have now from scraps, and it's just amazing to think about.
Also, with your father, with the photographic inspiration in that manner too, right?
Yeah.
Very cool. Do you have a favorite book, YouTube clip, or anything else that you draw inspiration from, and that maybe we could too?
There are so many amazing people everywhere. My favorite author is named Jonathan Safran Foer. He wrote a book called Everything is Illuminated.
Love it. Which
is my favorite book of all time. It's amazing. And I take a lot of inspiration from books and movies and music. And it just, I think you should draw inspiration from all of that.
Absolutely. I can definitely recommend that book as well. Movie isn't as good, but like usual.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a great one. Xin, it's time for the final push. This is where I ask you to reach to the microphone and grab the shoulder of one of the listeners that you've already really inspired today, who's thinking, maybe it's time to get back to work, or maybe it's time to, schedule in my creative passion and block out days in the calendar, or block out just hours or even minutes of my day to get back to it, and just give them your best words of advice and really push them to pursue their creative passions.
I feel like in 2016, everybody kind of expects everyone to, be talented at something, and everybody is showcasing their work on the internet, which is amazing and gives us a lot of opportunities that artists before us didn't have. And we're lucky, but especially for young people, I feel like it's a never-ending competition in getting more followers and more likes, and it's draining. And you kind of feel like a drop in the ocean and insignificant. But always remember that you're doing this for yourself, not to compete with others. And don't be afraid to grow and develop your style in whatever you're doing, but never stop developing.
I love it, yeah. Concentrate on progressing and concentrate on doing it for yourself first and foremost. Yeah, with the social media, it can be tricky because you see that little number next to your profile name, and it can be the thing that you obsess over, but it's almost like you have to use the social media in order to connect with people, but you also almost have to. I wish they had like a little app where it would like put a little black box like over that number, so you didn't have to pay attention to it. And also so you wouldn't have to look at other people's too, and
just concentrate on their art and your art, not the number.
Yeah. I wish, we could ignore that metric, because it's just another metric of comparison. But yeah, you're right. It's all about making that connection with the art and not the numbers. That it's hard to get over, but if you can, it will definitely help you out.
Yeah.
Xin, thank you so much for coming on the show today, for giving us that push.
For having me.
Of course. Oh, it was my pleasure. And you can find Xin on Facebook, Instagram, and Tumblr at Xin Li Photography. That's XINLI Photography. Just ignore the numbers, though. Xin, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wow, Xin really embodies what we look for in this show. It's somebody who does their art for the sake of doing the art. Like she said, it's a form of therapy for her. It's a way to express herself and to see the beauty in the world around you. And I really love what she said about how powerful the internet can be to find like-minded people, to find inspiration, but how it can also be a double-edged sword. How you really need to try to stay motivated by the people that you surround yourself with online, the people that you look at, the people that you look up to, and not comparing yourself too much to them. Like we talked about, the numbers can be somewhat daunting sometimes, especially if you're just starting out, but that is not the metric that you should be looking at. You should be worrying only about how the art, the photography, whatever it is that you like to look at online, that you like to get inspired by, you should only be looking at, how it inspires you, how it makes you feel. Really try to use it as motivation and not demoralization. It's really important. Just a moment for some iTunes shout-outs for people who gave 5-star reviews on iTunes. It's been a while since I've given you shout-outs, so here you go. Derelict24 from Canada said, I like that every day I can depend on a new episode being released. I know it's not easy to bring these out at this pace. Keep rocking. And I sincerely apologize that we are down to 3 days a week, but I really hope to get back to that pace, even though it is a little bit of a breakneck speed. I'll try to get back there for you. So thank you for that review. Shakurov1 said, this little elegant show is exactly what the title says. Youngman interviews artists from the whole range of the arts about their story into their arts, how they found their voice, their struggles with their demons, what inspires them, their workflow, among other subjects. It always ends with him asking the artist to reach into themselves and to reach out to us as an individual and give us that one last push. The show is awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much. Stefanini said, I am so grateful for this podcast. Speaks to my heart as an artist and inspires me to stay active in my art. And thank you for the podcast. You're welcome for the podcast. And Hip Huggy, aka Jill Opelka, said, Youngman, this is exactly what I needed to hear today, and will be playing it for my family. I feel so much better knowing that I am not alone. Thank you for creating this community of creatives, and I hope that you know what a difference this podcast is making in our lives out here. And Jill, you are very welcome, and thank you specifically because you're one of my Patreon supporters. So thank you so much for not only the review, but for supporting the show on Patreon. And if you'd like to support the show like Jill did, you can head to yourcreativepush.com/Patreon or patreon.com/yourcreativepush to check out the different reward levels we have. We will be hearing the voices of some of the Patreon supporters soon on the show as they tell us a little bit about what they do and why they decided to support the show. On Wednesday's show, we have Jane Radstrom.
The first thing is to set a clear goal. So to really ask yourself, what am I trying to achieve? And then why do I want that? So you can focus on the outcome of what's going to be good when you actually get there to achieve that result. And I know when you first start with a personal trainer, they always ask you, what's your commitment level from 1 to 10? So then you can be really honest with yourself about how much you want this thing that you're trying to go for.
Jane is a super talented figurative painter. She is one of the humblest people that I know. And she comes on the show to tell her story and to give us some inspiration for getting our work done and a peek into the life of a professional artist. I really, really enjoyed that conversation, but that is for you on Wednesday if you need the push again. Hopefully today you were motivated to go and get your work done, so go and get it done. Have a great day. I love you all, and keep rocking your art, keep rocking your creative pursuits, whatever it may be. And I look forward to talking to you again on Wednesday. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.